right, welcome to another episode of Closers or Losers. I worked my fanny off today, so I'm just going to be sitting down, butt in the seat. I've done like 4 hours of virtual training today, standing up. My dogs are tired. Matt, how are you over there in our Sydney, Australia office?
Just started. Well, I didn't just start. It's 9 a.m. I've been going for a while, but
we're on the 24-hour shift here. We got the first 12 hours here in America, and then the last 12 hours in Australia. We never stop as a company. It's just 24
These
hours.
colors don't run, boy.
Colors don't run. Hey, so I wanted to talk to you about something today because I had some people in the office here the other day, and they're asking me like, what is your thoughts about the sales industry in large and where sales is going with, everybody talking about a recession, and is it going to be harder to sell, and what do we do with our teams? I've had a lot of business owners ask me questions like this lately. So I think it might be a good time because I think when I don't know what polling is over in Australia, but polling over here, it's like, they did a poll the other day, like 73% think we're almost in a recession. When you get to that, it's pretty much you're already in the recession. If 8 out of 10 people think that the recession's coming, it's probably already there. I remember going through the stock market housing crisis crash in 2008 and 2009.
Yeah.
And this is obviously there's different reasons why something is brewing and coming around the corner. But I always go back to, what did the government say? What did people say before it actually happened? Like 6 months before, people were starting like, oh, recession's coming and things are happening. And then, the government would always play down, oh, we're fine, nothing's wrong, like, it'll be back to normal. And then bam, it's like you wake up one day and on the news, oh my gosh, the world's falling in. It just happened overnight. We had no idea. And now you can kind of see the same pattern with, I don't know how it is over there, but you can kind of see the same pattern here. They're saying the same things. Don't worry, it's fine, nothing's going to happen. What are you noticing?
Yeah. I'm so deep into like, I actually don't watch the news. I don't watch the news intentionally. I found myself a much happier person when I didn't watch it.
I just read it. I just read it on my phone here. I never watch it.
Yeah, I watch some stuff like, with the economy and stuff like that. Yeah. Obviously, a recession's coming worldwide, probably. I have a wealth manager. He's very switched on, great dude, extremely he's texted me this morning. He sat me down. He's like, there's an 18 to 24 month recession. It's going to come in. It's not going to be that bad, but it is going to be 18 to 24 months. So this is what we're planning for it. I'm like, well, he's on top of it. You know what I mean? But personally, like a lot of the industries that we play in, sales is for us in particular at 7th level, like sales skills are required more than ever during a recession.
100%. And that's what I was going to say. So I remember, when back, maybe were you in the military back in those days, or where were you at in
2008?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in Afghanistan in 2008.
Yeah. So because it's a different experience for you. So I was right in the trenches selling every day for the company I worked for. And I remember when all that happened in those days, I was selling like debt relief services. And I remember like literally like in a two to 4 week period after everything went down, half of the company was gone, like just gone. It was like just office spaces wiped out, salespeople lost their jobs, and the people that stayed, it was like they couldn't sell anything. Let's say they were making 130 grand or 150 grand the year before. I mean, they were making 60 the next year. And I just remember kind of that feeling because my income almost doubled. Like I literally, because I kept advancing my skills. And I just remember.
Why did they get rid of so many people so fast? It's not like it magically happened. Like it's like New Year's. There's no difference between December 31st and January 1st.
I think they just
got difference.
Scared. I think they just, hey, we're gonna downside and we're just gonna build it up. They didn't know what was going on, but they were scared of the risk. And I'm sure their shareholders are like, just cut 40% of the company and
that's so crazy, man.
We'll go and we'll build. Now they build it back up over the next 3-4 years, but like that first like 6-8 months, 9 months, it was like lean pickings. Now for me though, because my skills kept advancing, I kept learning. The year before I made pretty good income, almost $1 million in commissions, but then the next year I made about almost 400 grand more than I did the year before during I would say almost a depression. Over here.
Yeah, 2008 was pretty nasty.
Yeah, it was pretty nasty. It was mainly 2009 because it kind of happened the end of 2008, but 2009, bam, But I remember, thinking in my mind, and I remember the company, I remember them freaking out like, oh my gosh, we've got to get more sales trainers in, and we've got to do this, and we've got to do that. In times of recession that we're probably already in or coming into, what we have to realize as sales professionals, as business owners, is that every shortcoming in your team's sales process, every weakness they have, will only be magnified by 10.
Well, I came to you basically because of COVID.
Yeah, right. A lot of people. Yeah, that's true.
I started training with you in, I think it was April.
Yeah. It was no, you came in a month. Was it right after? It was right after COVID. It wasn't.
I think it was right. I think it was either like COVID started, it like really hit off in March, but it started in like January, and everyone started to get kind of weird, and then it got weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder.
Yeah.
And then I think it might have been March that I actually started training with you.
It was a couple of weeks before the lockdown.
Yeah. And that was like, because like that April was a weird month, but I still managed to make sales.
Yeah.
Because like I was selling business coaching, and everyone just kind of went like that. And I was like, what's happening? Which is fair. Like that's the world, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really interesting. Like 2020 was like, I'd never made more money in my life than what I did in 2020, like previously.
Yeah. Well, it's true because like I said, take a look at your salespeople now. Like if you're a business owner, or even if you're a salesperson, look at the laydowns you have now. Let's say that 20% of your sales, let's say 30% of your sales are fairly easy. You don't have to do much, maybe one objection, just not many objections, and you close the deal. The problem is when you have a recessionary period, people psychologically tighten up with their money, and they're very, very cautious, even more cautious about making the wrong buying decision. So they stall. So those easier sales you're getting now, I hate to tell you, most of them are not going to be there when this goes down, probably in the next few months, realistically. People are probably like, we're even having companies come to us now saying in the last 2 months, it's become much more difficult to sell. So obviously, when times
I haven't found that strange.
When times get tough and leaner, you have to do what? You have to get much better at your sales ability. Otherwise, your sales are not going to stay the same. They automatically go down. And that's what we're getting into right now.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. Like the recession is obviously on front of everyone's mind.
Yeah.
I'm not like super worried about it. I think, like good business owners always find a way to kind of, turn things into positives. I really think that. And good business owners should have, a little bit of a war chest built up to where you can survive a couple of months of trying to figure it out, which I think is fair.
Yeah.
But in like the sales industry as a whole, kind of going back to the wider sales industry, I feel like, this is a little bit unrelated, but I wanted to get your feel. There was a recession coming up, but there's always something. Like it's always something. It's a recession, it's a war. Yeah. Like there is always something that will increase buyer resistance or increase their like apprehension. A big war in Ukraine or fucking this, or inevitably when China tries to take over Taiwan, or like whatever, right? There's always something happening. Yeah. COVID was a really interesting time because like there was nothing for like 2 years.
Yeah.
There was just COVID, and I think everyone got numb to it. Yeah. Right? Like right now in Sydney, highest cases ever recorded by like a factor of 5. No one cares.
Yeah, they're just over it. Yeah.
It's so funny. My whole office has got it. Right? So right. So so like what are your feelings about, I guess, the sales industry as a whole right now, as in like salespeople? And like what do you think are some positives about the industry? What do you think are some things that you would like to see change?
As far as like sales training, or just
sales training, or even like, like the way that salespeople are perceived, or, just sort of sales in general.
Well, let's talk about sales training. So my perception of sales training is a direct correlation of how salespeople in large are viewed, right? Because if you're trained a certain way by a sales trainer or a company that causes let's say that you're a person and you are trained by XYZ company how to sell. Well, let's say that their training is a little bit more old school, maybe a little bit more traditional selling, been around a long time. and it's triggering sales resistance, that goes on you, not the company training you. So it's how your prospects are viewing you. So my biggest problem in large, why I started 7th Level 4 years ago, is because of the way prospects, or the way society viewed salespeople. Not because this guy's a different, not because Bob or Mary or some weird different people, but because they're in sales, they're viewed with a negative stereotype because of the way they've been taught how to communicate. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I think it's like, you look at, like, we're running a, at the time of filming this, we're running a masterclass on objection obliteration in a couple of days. And you see some of the ads, you see some of the comments on the ads, and it's like, how dare you try and overcome someone's objection? Basically, it's like, I just need to think about it. I'm not making decisions. And I want to comment, but I don't. It's like, well, if you were 100 pounds overweight,
yeah,
right, and you were sitting in front of a personal trainer, and it worked out financially, you had the time to do it, you needed to do it,
yeah, you're
and
gonna
you were
die.
like, I just need to go away and think about this. Like that, like, of course you do, because every single decision that you make in your life has caused you to be 100 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
So you just making decisions in the same way is not going to produce a different outcome. So someone has to show you that mirror and overcome your concern, overcome your objection, and then you'll be a healthier, you'll live a better life.
Yeah, well, you're
Like,
gonna survive, and you're 100.
Yeah.
You talk about that industry. If you're 100 pounds weight, you're not going to live very long. You're not going to see your grandkids. You're not going to be able to walk your daughters down the aisle and watch them get married. And those are important things, right? So,
exactly.
every product or service that's ever been sold either solves a problem and an emotional need, or both, right? So, my thoughts about sales in general, and I see my biggest concern is I see so many people get into training, and that's really for any industry, but sales training, I see people get into sales training that have only sold for a year. So hold on, wait a minute. You sold for 1 year and you did decent. Let's say you made a couple $100,000, and now you're a sales trainer that's going to be able to go out and train 87 different industries how to sell more of their products and services, and you have 1 year of experience, sir. I'm not sure you're going to do that well. I had 17 years of experience, right? And was one of the top salespeople paid ever. And I know what it's like to train different industries, to train the different ins and outs and what it takes to get results. So a lot of times I see so many people in training in large, or sales training, or any type of training or coaching, that literally are amateurs. They have 1 good year, and then all of a sudden they start a company training everybody else. And you're like, I just sat back there and a little giggle every once in a while.
Yeah, it really is. Like, a lot of people who have achieved any modicum of success, which is not even that much. Like, there's a sales trainer out there. Best month I know he ever did was probably like 25K. And then, being an objection, being a sales coach. It's like, what are you doing, mate? Like,
you got 1 year of experience.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, I was a sales rep for 13 years. Like it's, and I was a bad one for most of it.
Yeah.
Like, successful, but like effective, but not very good.
You know what's the saying? It takes about 10,000 hours of being in the trenches of learning before you really become an expert at something. You can't really do that in 1 year.
I would say that's probably my biggest gripe with the sales industry as a whole right now, is the biz op nature of it.
Okay.
Because, like, coaching and consulting can produce, and there are a ton of scams out there. Like, I know some guys right now who recently left sort of Sales Sniper, and they went over to it's a clear scam. It's just a scam. 100%, making like $100,000 a month in commissions. It is a scam.
Okay.
And I'm like, you will either get done for that, or they'll get done for that. Something will happen. Like, you can't make that much money with the skill sets that you have. And I've looked at what it is, and it's like, that is,
so what they're selling is not a real
gray area, legal gray area at best.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right. And it's like, but like, so there are some products and services out there where you can earn very, very high commissions. But even, let's say you take a standard coaching offer, you get paid $2,000 to make a sale, right? Like a 20K sale, you get paid $2,000. That's great. And a lot of the marketing at the moment and trying to get people into sales is like, hey, come make $10,000 a month from your living room in 30
like
days.
The biz op type of stuff. Yeah.
That for me, it like it floods the market with a bunch of really undertrained sales reps.
Yeah. I agree.
Right. Then what they do is, some of them are successful, most of them are not. A
Yeah.
very few of them are successful, like a small amount. Those are used as like the case studies to
Right.
get more people
Oh
in.
gosh.
And then you have this whole large swath of people who are really unsuccessful that either like stay in it because of the dream or they just hate sales and salespeople in general. And it
Yeah.
perpetuates this cycle of like hatred towards sales. When like sales is a good job.
Sales,
Like
sales is the
it's just not
highest
easy.
profession out there if you have the right skills, if you learn the right skills, you have the right ability, you'll make more than any other profession out there. You'll make more than dentists, you'll make more money than doctors, you'll make more money than attorneys. I can't count the number of friends that I had in my sales days that were like, oh my gosh, I'm a neurosurgeon and you make 3 times more than me, and I went to school for 16 years.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I'm good at selling stuff. What are you gonna do?
Could have gotten sales, man. What do you want me to tell you? You picked the wrong profession.
Do you think that there is like do you think certain personality types have a natural proclivity towards learning sales more than others?
I think a person that is a mixture of an extrovert and an introvert, that's very calm and collective, that can analyze things, can learn sales very, very quickly. But that being said, it's hard because, as you know, we have thousands of clients that are introverts, thousands of clients that are extroverts, thousands of clients that are in the middle, and they all crush it. So I don't know any science behind that. That's just my personal opinion of people that are not extroverted, where they're just out there blah, 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 compared to people that like don't even want to say one word. It's like the people that are kind of in the middle of that seem to be very collective and calm. So that collectiveness about that and the calmness where they can talk with anybody, but they can also just sit there and not say a word and they can listen, is an attribute sometimes we have to teach. Like an extrovert, we have to teach them really how to slow down and listen. Whereas an introvert, we actually have to teach them to say something and ask a question, right? So if you have that capability of like, you can just be calm and collective, that's a really good attribute to have.
Yeah, I agree. What are your thoughts on personality testing for sales? I think it's bullshit, but
yes, I think it's yes. I never bought into that. The personality test. I remember what I applied for. I got my first job selling door to door, and I remember I was very successful. I was the number one salesperson in the entire company, and I remember like 2 years into it, I went to get a regular sales job, and I think I made the year before almost 300 grand in commissions. And I went and applied for a regular sales job and took a personality test, and they said I didn't pass. So I wasn't able to get interviewed.
Amazing.
I'm like, that's amazing. I didn't pass the personality test. Here you go. So we don't do any personality tests here because, like I said, we have introverts that we train. I just interviewed an introvert that was literally a mechanical engineer, that when I got him on the interview, it was hard to like get information out of him on the interview. And he's making almost 500 grand a year in commissions now in his sales job. Okay. And he's a really big he's like a programming nerd almost. He's not even in mechanical engineering. He's like some type of programmer. So
okay.
And I'm just like, how is that even possible? And he's like, well, it makes sense to me as an introvert because I'm like very organized and I like structure. So the sales process, from connecting questions to situation to problem awareness, he's like, I understand that structure, and that structure in my mind makes sense. I just had to learn how to be natural and not sound scripted. And once I did that, it was easy because it was all very structured for me. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Extroverted, we've got tons of extroverts as well. The biggest thing with people that just talk all the time is we have to teach them how to slow down the questions.
I think anyone can learn sales, but I think that there are certain personalities that learn it much faster.
Yeah.
You take people like a Thales, for example, who works for us. He learned it so quick, having from no sales background, but like his personality is very analytical. He is like extrovert, but introvert, like he's not afraid to talk and he can chat to people, but he also is a good listener. So there's definitely like a personality typing there. I think as well for me, it's people who, like, you have to be willing to like say and ask difficult things. If you shy away from asking a difficult question or having a difficult conversation, it'll be harder for you.
Yeah, it will. Yeah. You have to be willing to challenge people, but in a way where you're empathy and concern for them, not in a mean, challenging way. That's going to piss people off, but where they feel like you're challenging them to question, staying in the status quo because you're concerned for them. You are, because if they stay in status quo, they never solve their problems. They never get what they want. 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I've been through some personality testing before when it comes to sales, and it's just a whole, I don't know, seems like a great way just to try and find a bunch of the same people.
I think it's just like a theory, right? I think it's good for like culture fits sometimes. I think sometimes there's some validation, like with having like the right type of, are they going to fit in our culture, personality test type of thing? Like, I think it's good for other things, but like outside, like inside of sales, I just never saw really much relevance to it, especially when I flunked the personality test and couldn't get hired as a salesperson.
Yeah, if you're flunking the sales personality test, they're not exactly accurate.
Possibly.
Yeah, I've seen one of our guys take it, and he flunked and wasn't offered an interview, and that dude's doing like $40K a month.
See, that's the danger of personality tests. So I wonder how many companies listening to us right now are doing personality tests, and you're like, oh my gosh, how many salespeople have we lost that just these personality tests don't really mean that much?
Yeah, like they cannot tell your sales acumen.
Yeah.
They cannot. It's impossible. Like, because you might have a tremendous skill set.
Yeah.
Like, what's a personality test going to tell you?
Yeah, what's an outgoing? Like, if a personality test tells a company, oh, this person's really outgoing, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be great at sales. That just means they like to talk. Talking doesn't sell. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It doesn't mean anything. In fact,
we had someone that we were working with at 7th level where we were potentially sending them some people, and they kept failing the personality testing. So I just pulled it. I said, "Don't worry about it, mate."
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, we're definitely not. So if you're a business owner and you're basing your scalability of your company and who you're hiring on personality test, our suggestion would be get them the right training. So whether they're introverted, extroverted, or right in the middle, it doesn't matter. They have a step-by-step process that's duplicatable for any personality, and you can actually have duplicatable results. That's the big thing. I was on with one of our big B2B clients, a huge insurance agency, got about 10,000 reps here in the States. And they were talking about like, look, if we can just get our people that really suck and get them to like be below average, and our below average people to be average, and our average people to be good, and our good people now that are great, we're going to be the largest insurance company in the world.
Everyone just takes a step to the right.
You just take like, if you can get each of the reps like 2 steps, like 1 or 2 steps to the right in this direction, think of what you can do.
And you know what? Just having a process to follow will do that.
100%.
So, and where would they find more about these processes?
Yeah. So we got to get out here. We got another meeting. So look, you want to start learning more skills that work with human behavior for your salespeople, for you, if you're an individual salesperson, you want to start selling more, start making 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 grand a month in commissions or more with what you sell in your industry. If you're a salesperson or if you're a business owner and you're wanting to scale, you might already be doing good, but how do you get to the next level? How do you double, triple revenue, profit margins? That's by doubling, tripling your conversions, your closing percentages, and your DPL. So if you want to learn those type of skills, you're an individual salesperson or a sales executive or manager or leader of any type, business owner, just first place to look at us is go to our Facebook group. We got about 20, that thing's growing like crazy. I think 26,000 people are in there, just like you guys. www.salesrevolution.pro. So just go to salesrevolution.pro. Right when you join, either myself or Matt, maybe somebody in our team will message you over some different, resources that you can use. I think we send them like a free 101 mini course that gives a breakdown of NEPQ or emotional persuasion questions. We go live in the group 3-4 times a week with different trainings, different Q&As, and just reach out to us. You want to learn more advanced skills? Because we give you little nibbles in the Facebook group, little hors d'oeuvres. Sometimes we give you a little sip of champagne here and there, a little bit of water, your thirst.
A little bit.
But if you want everything, you want to be like our clients that are probably making 3 times what you are, who sell what you do, then just message us in there and you can just book with one of our team members. They're nice. They might challenge your way of thinking a little bit, but they'll give you some different training options if you want to get up to that level. Matt, thanks for being on. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.
All right, guys. Bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here, Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're gonna help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.